The dramatic arrests on the high seas. These U.S. Coast Guard crews, guns drawn, seizing a small drug smuggling vessel. These are some of the 7 seizures announced today, netting 18,000 pounds of cocaine worth $312 million.
Our message to the cartels is simple. We own the sea. You do not. We will find you, we will hunt you down, we will stop you before you reach our border, before you can smuggle these drugs into our country.
So thank you again for what you've done and the countless lives that you have all saved today. By 11 defendants are going to be locked up, and if this isn't sending a message loud and clear to Sinaloa and these other cartels, it better be, because they know that these men and women, all of these agencies working together, are coming after them. And if there is more, they will find them and they will arrest them and we will prosecute them.
Everyone is putting the mission first, and the people that are hearing that message the loudest are the cartels and the CJNG and Sinaloa cartels and the others down in the south of the border.
President Trump just wiped out one of the biggest narcotics shipments ever linked to the Sinaloa Cartel and the CJNG, and the fallout is already turning bloody. Now everyone's asking, was this a one-time victory or the start of something far worse? The DEA is calling this the largest narcotics seizure in American history, spanning 5 American states. We're talking about over $5 million in cartel cash, along with fentanyl and meth shipments worth millions of dollars on the streets. The cartels may never fully recover from this, but as you know, they are not going to go down easily. So, now the question is, how will the cartels respond? And how many American lives are in danger right now? On the morning of April 28, 2025, federal agents launched one of the most aggressive anti-cartel crackdowns in U.S. history. And it wasn't just one city or one state. This was a sweeping, coordinated effort that spanned across 5 states. According to the U.S. Attorney General, Pam Bondi, this operation hit the Sinaloa Cartel and the CJNG exactly where it hurt the most.
We believe 2 cartels, CJNG and Sinaloa, were heavily tied to these shipments. This is a major blow to their financial operations and their efforts to distribute drugs throughout our country.
At the center of it all was a man named Heriberto Salazar Amaya, a 36-year-old Mexican national, quietly living in Salem, Oregon. To his neighbors, he probably seemed like just another guy with a nice truck and some flashy jewelry. But behind the scenes, he was running a major US-based distribution arm for the Sinaloa Cartel, as you know, one of the deadliest drug organizations in the world. According to federal investigators, Heriberto wasn't out on the streets handling the products himself. He was the one taking orders, scheduling couriers, and dispatching the deadly substances to multiple cities through a complex network of undocumented workers and stash houses. You won't believe that this guy had been deported twice before, yet somehow managed to find his way back into the country. By the time they arrested him, agents found $2.8 million in cash at his home, along with $50,000 worth of jewelry, a Mercedes AMG, and a Ford F-150 Shelby worth another $150,000. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. The narcotics tied to his operation were scattered across multiple states. In total, authorities seized over 3 million counterfeit pills laced with fentanyl, 11.5 kilograms of fentanyl powder. The fentanyl pills were especially dangerous. You know why? Because they were pressed to look exactly like real oxycodone. Same size, same shape, same markings. Someone dealing with chronic pain could have taken one thinking it was safe and died instantly. No warning, no second chance. Just one pill and it's over for an innocent person. That's what makes this crisis so deadly. Many victims weren't addicts looking for the next high in some dark alley. They were ordinary people, chronic pain patients, young adults, buying what they thought was safe medication, but they had no idea that what they were taking was laced with something 50 times deadlier than heroin. So, this wasn't just about taking down a notorious narco ring. According to Attorney General Pam Bondi, this was about stopping what she called a chemical weapon campaign targeting everyday Americans. She said, "They are flooding our cities with weapons of mass destruction, fentanyl," and she wasn't exaggerating. Fentanyl has already become the #1 cause of death for people between the ages of 18 and 34 in the US. Each year, around 75,000 Americans are dying from it. Heriberto's network was built to take advantage of that. In cities like Albuquerque, Phoenix, and parts of Utah, agents found the bulk of the product stashed and ready to move. Meanwhile, he kept a low profile in Oregon, managing everything from a distance, surrounded by wealth and luxury. As you can already tell, this wasn't some low-level street gang setup. It was a fully functioning distribution operation, structured like a business and protected by layers of insulation, fake documentation, and a rotating crew of undocumented couriers. To take them down, General Bondi said the DOJ had to coordinate a multi-agency operation involving the FBI, DEA, U.S. Navy, and Coast Guard.
This team, with all the agencies I just mentioned, used drones, aircraft, and ships to interdict the traffickers off the coast of Peru, Ecuador, and the Galapagos Islands. What they did saved countless American lives. Countless lives.
Many of those arrested had entered the country illegally. Investigators believe most of them arrived within the last 4 years, bypassing law enforcement and exploiting the open gaps in the system. After the arrests, Attorney General Bondi made it clear that none of them would be deported back to Mexico, where we know cartel influence would almost guarantee their release. She even hinted that Alcatraz, the infamous island prison, could be reopened to house the worst cartel leaders. The DEA, along with federal prosecutors and state agencies, called this the largest fentanyl pill bust in U.S. history, and they believe the number of lives saved could be in the tens of thousands. But taking down Heriberto and his crew didn't end the threat. In fact, some officials fear it could make things worse. As you guys already know, when powerful cartels like Sinaloa or CJNG take a hit, they're this big, they don't just sit back. There's always an escalation of violence in the region. And just as federal agents were locking up Heriberto and his crew, something horrifying was already happening across the border. And the first casualty? A young American girl caught in the crossfire. Now everyone's asking, was this just a tragic mistake, or was it a warning shot? Her name was Isabel Ashanti Gomez, a 22-year-old American woman with dual citizenship. She was young, full of life, and had just spent the night dancing with friends. She looked happy, carefree, and completely unaware of what was about to happen. Isabel had been picked up late that night by her father, who was simply trying to get his daughter and her friend home safely. They were driving back together through Michoacan, Mexico, along the Zitácuaro-Apuzio highway when they came across something that instantly set off an alarm. It was a fake checkpoint, not manned by police or military, but by heavily armed cartel members. Locals believe it had been set up by CJNG, also known as the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. When Valentin saw the men and realized who they were, he made a split-second decision not to stop. The cartel opened fire. Bullets tore through the vehicle. Isabel was shot and killed on the spot. Her father and her friend were both seriously injured. 1 second, they were just trying to get home. The next second, they were caught in the middle of a cartel war they had nothing to do with. Early reports linked the attack to a man named William Edwin Rivera Padilla, a regional lieutenant of the CJNG, known by the alias El Barbas. Authorities believe he may have ordered the shooting after mistaking Valentin's Ford F-150 for a vehicle used by a rival cartel. So, they were targeted because of the make and model of their truck. You see, in places like Michoacan, where the cartels rule the roads, a wrong vehicle can get you killed. A Ford F-150 is common on both sides of the border, but to CJNG operatives, it may have looked like an enemy convoy. So far, no arrests have been made. But as you guys already know, that often means nothing in cartel territory. Justice, if it comes at all, is always slow and dangerous. Meanwhile, her family held her funeral shortly after her death. Isabel's white and gold casket was surrounded by photos, flowers, and grieving family members who never thought a simple ride home would end like this. So now the question is, was this just a tragic mix-up, or was it something darker? The truth is, just like Isabel, the cartels have victimized many Americans for things they knew nothing about. But here's the part nobody saw coming. The cartels are now going after American businesses, and they're doing it from the inside. According to the American Chamber of Commerce in Mexico, cartels have begun taking over parts of U.S. companies operating south of the border. They are not just intimidating them or stealing from them. No, they're actually embedding themselves inside the operations, controlling everything from distribution and pricing to staff and security. Right now, 1 in every 8 American businesses in Mexico is believed to be under cartel influence. Some truckers are being forced at gunpoint to deliver hidden drug shipments. Others are being paid off to look the the other way. And in the most chilling cases, even company executives have been threatened with violence. They're told to cooperate or risk losing everything, including their lives and their families. This isn't just a few bribes behind closed doors, it's full-scale infiltration. The cartels are using these businesses as fronts, disguising their drug movements under the protection of legitimate U.S. trade. In fact, New Nation reported that many of these shipments are even cleared by the U.S. Customs.
The organized criminal organizations taking at least partial control of their operations, whether it's sales, distribution, or pricing. While truck drivers are the most commonly targeted, there has been an uptick in the targeting of executives as well. Using threats of violence, cartels have also embedded themselves in the distribution networks of these companies, and many of their shipments are actually cleared by U.S. Customs, allowing for cartels to slip drugs into these shipments undetected.
So, the system is being used against itself. And the worst part? Most people inside these companies are too scared to say a word. And you guys know too well that cartel threats and retaliation are no jokes. Workers who've tried to alert Mexican law enforcement have disappeared, executives have been followed, and drivers have been found dead after refusing to cooperate. And now, with President Trump having officially designated Mexican cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, things have changed even more. Under this new classification, anyone caught helping a cartel, even under duress, in some cases, can now be charged in U.S. courts under terrorism laws. That includes logistics managers, warehouse workers, truckers, or any staff member who moves a shipment with narcotics inside. And the penalty? In some cases, it could mean 20 years in prison, and in some extreme scenarios, a life sentence. So, these workers, most of them ordinary people, just trying to keep their jobs, are now stuck between two monsters. If they talk to law enforcement, they risk being executed by the cartel. And if they stay quiet and the US finds out, they risk being prosecuted as terrorist collaborators. It's a no-win situation, and that's exactly how the cartels want it. Please share your thoughts with us in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more in-depth videos like this. Meanwhile, click on any of the cards on your screen right now to watch more of our videos.